I'm going to talk today about the 5 things that if I had to do over, I would do them differently. So check out this episode of Yeah, I'm a human being. I make mistakes. This is my tiny house. I love it. So this is not a list of things that I hate about my tiny house. I'm not trying to, this is not clickbait or anything like that. But what I want to talk about, some of the things that I dislike about how I approached certain aspects of this particular tiny house build. And I want to make sure that you don't make the same mistake that I did. And so I'm going to cover 5 things. I'm going to do it from least important to most important. So let's kick it off with number 5. So this is a 2-bedroom tiny house that I built. It's a 20-foot long tiny house. And this is my daughter's bedroom. Looks nice and everything. Now, underneath her bedroom are some of the tiny house systems. So let me lift up the bed here and show you what's going on under there. All right, so aside from removing a bunch of pillows and stuff up top here, and that takes us under here to where some of the systems are. This is peeve number 5, but it has nothing to do with this particular RV panel that I'm using here, which is great. This has worked fine for me. It handles both my 12-volt needs and 110 needs. I'll put a link to this panel into the description. It's been a great panel. The point is, I've got 30 amp service in this house, and I wish I'd gone with a 50 amp. Now, I never would have thought that I would use this much electricity in here, but I do. And the reason is that this house, it's all electric. So in other words, my cooking is electric. A toilet that I use is an Seasonality, so that's electric. When I use a lot of these devices, let's say the toilet and a heater, I'm cooking something, I will invariably blow a fuse. It'll be one of these breakers that'll trip, or it'll be the main fuse back at the pole where the meter is, where I get all my electricity from. And that is a problem. So that's issue number 5. Regretting that I didn't go with a 50 amp service versus the 30 amp that I actually have. Issue number 4 is next. This is my hot water heater. Again, electric. This is a 2.5 gallon model, I believe, from Bosch. Nice unit, works great, but what the hell was I thinking, believing that I could shower in 2.5 gallons of warm water? This is just woefully inadequate. Not enough hot water to take a decent shower. And that is peeve number 4. What I would probably do is go with less of an all-electric model and mount a propane-based hot water heater onto the side of the house. That very elegantly takes me into issue number 3 that I wish I could do over. So issue number 3 is kind of a more general one, and it has to do with what we see out here, tundra. I set this house up purely as a recreational escape for my daughter and for myself. COVID happened back last year, and I spent literally months in this particular house. The main issue is that this house was built for recreational purposes, and therefore wasn't built for 4-season usage. Now the house is insulated well. Tundra. It's toasty warm in here right now, but the problem is that I never set it up to have running water in the winter. Tundra. With a little bit of extra effort, with a little bit of forethought, I could have done that. Tundra. I probably would build a house that is 4-season functional. And that takes us to issue number 2. Issue number 2 has to do with this. This is my cooktop, but you will notice that it is a single burner induction cooktop, and it is really, really hard to cook anything of any significance on a single burner induction cooktop. I do like to cook, and a single burner cooktop just is not doing it for me. So therefore, if I had to do it over again, I would probably not go with the induction. I would probably also do a propane stove in place of this particular burner. Now, all these things that I'm mentioning, none of them are kind of set in stone, and I could, reconfigure the house to incorporate any of these particular aspects. But it would be a little bit tricky to do so, and I just simply don't, feel like doing it, quite frankly. And that takes us up to the final issue that I have with the tiny house. What could possibly be wrong with this lovely love seat that I have in here? This is actually an issue that was prevalent before that I have now remedied. So what I had here was a, the Norvo or whatever, IKEA fold down table. And I had two sort of bar stools on either side of that. In spending more time here, it was really conducive to have someplace more comfortable to sit. I have loved this particular upgrade. This does take up more space since I do have a 2-bedroom tiny house. There's a lack of space, I would say, but this has worked out really well for me. And I'm going to give you one more bonus issue. Please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe if this has been helpful to you. This sink, it's nice. It works fine in the summer when the water is running, but it is tiny. Here's the size of my hand, and here's the sink. But there are a couple dishes in here, and it's full. And I wish I'd gone with a bigger sink, but that's a minor point, and I'm not going to belabor that for too long. That was just simply a bonus issue. All right, thus concludes my list of 5 things I would do differently in my tiny house. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you feel like this was helpful to you, and I'll be making more content shortly. Thanks again. This is Chris from Tiny Industrial signing off, and we'll see you next time. Take care, guys.